Hey everybody, Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got some wine for you. This is the 2019 Anthonij Rupert Optima. This is a red Bordeaux style blend from South Africa that's part of the February 2024 Somm Wine Club box. Anthonij Rupert's an iconic producer in South Africa. They're based in Franschhoek at the Loormerens estate, which is where part of the fruit for this wine comes from. The other portion comes from a district in Darling called Groenkloof, both of which are in the Western Cape part of Western South Africa. Now, the estate was purchased in 1968 by Anthonij Rupert, who is the father of the current owner, Johan Rupert, who took over from his brother, who was Anthony Rupert. So Anthony tragically passed away in a car accident in 2001 after establishing the winery in 1984. And his brother, Johan, remade the winery, renamed it, put a huge investment into it, built a new state-of-the-art cellar to honor his brother after he passed away. And it was kind of through that period of time they hired enologist Michel Rolland, a famous Bordeaux consultant, in 2005 to help oversee the production of the wines, and really made a huge jump up in quality and in international recognition at that stage. So the Optima is a expression of a Bordeaux blend using the grape varieties that are planted at the Loormerens estate. And in Groenkloof, it's 37% Merlot, 35 Cabernet Sauvignon, 26 Cabernet Franc, and then 1% Cinsault and 1% Rubernais, which is a cross of Cabernet Sauvignon and Alicante Muscat, which was created at the University of Stellenbosch. So aged for 20 months in French oak. It ferments and goes through malolactic conversion in French oak, as well as its aging then 20 months, 30% of which is new. So there is a decent amount of oak influence here, but when you taste it, I don't think that the oak is out of balance. I think that the oak is really well integrated and actually matches up with the intensity of the fruit quite well. So let's taste it. So, being that this is Merlot dominant, rarely actually, I looked through some of the previous tech sheets. This is the only vintage that I could find that had more Merlot than Cabernet Sauvignon. Usually it's the other way around, and I have a feeling that I know why that is. In 2019, there was a little bit of a cooler overall temperature. The harvest started later, and there was more rain than there had been in the previous 4 or 5 vintages. So Merlot tends to do better and ripens a little bit earlier, so it's possible that they needed that little bit of ripeness additional from the Merlot in order to kind of keep this wine plush and robust and in the style that the wine is known to be. Lots of black fruit, lots of black cherry and plum. There's like a little cocoa kind of spicy undertone to this. The Cabernet Franc and the Cabernet Sauvignon do give you a little bit of kind of herbaceous, green, vegetal, almost brambly, kind of wild vine kind of smell to it, which I really like. I love Bordeaux blends, and I especially love Bordeaux blends that don't try and hide the herbaceousness of Cabernet and Cabernet Franc. A little bit of star anise, a little bit of clove, cinnamon, this spice character coming from the new oak. I don't get a lot of vanilla, which is interesting because this is more spice than it is vanilla, which, I mean, you can get both from French oak, but often that vanillan overtone kind of overwhelms things, and here it's a little bit more subtle, so I appreciate that. Some violet kind of floral notes to this wine as well. And I'm pretty surprised. I mean, I know the wine, but it's not as dark as I expected it to be. Like if I hold it here and I can see the light from through my finger, I can see the wine, like my fingers through the wine, which is, like I said, for a Merlot dominant blend, is a little bit unusual. And like I said, I'm not upset about that. Well, Don't be fooled by the color or the fact that this is a very approachable wine. It's still got power behind it. There's quite a bit of tannin. It's got some hard edges in terms of tannin, so it definitely would benefit from being in a decanter, splash around a little bit, and let it breathe, let it open for an hour or two before you're actually going to drink it. But once that tannin is actually absorbed, it's really quite pleasant, and it's well balanced with the other components in the wine. Really refreshing acidity. There's quite a lot of bright, kind of light, energetic flavor to this that kind of helps to balance out the deepness and the richness of the fruit and the spice and that kind of earthy undertone to this wine as well. This wine has like a pretty long life ahead of it. I would very easily put this in a cellar for 10 to 15 years and watch the development. I'm not saying that you have to do that. Of course, I want you guys to drink and enjoy these wines. But if you do, don't worry about it. You can forget about it for quite some time. Yeah, the tannins are, like I said, present, a little bit on the grainy side, but also very elegant at the same time. And the expression of the fruit, it's not stewed, it's not jammy or overripe. It's very kind of bright and energetic and refreshing, which is a wonderful thing to have when you have a full-bodied red like this, that kind of you may expect it to be a little bit more of a punch in the face, but it's not. This is restrained, is a good way of putting it. That still leads to a lot of opportunity for food and wine pairing with this wine because the acidity is so present and bright. You can use this to help cut through the fat, but you don't absolutely need to throw just like a big heavy steak at this. You can play with spices. You can play with things like sumac or star anise or cumin, doing marinades for vegetables or meats or anything that you do on a grill that's going to add a little bit of that char and that smoke and that kind of underlying bitterness of cooking is great here. But also don't be afraid of fat, because this wine can very much handle a good chunk of fat because it's got so much acidity and brightness in a very, very elegant and complex and layered package. And is delicious. But yes, food wine, decant, definitely something that if you want to hang on to it for a little while, you can. And tons of opportunity and potential for food and wine pairing. So, yeah, that's the Optima from Anthonij Rupert. I hope you enjoy, and we will see you guys all next time.